You've seen the title of this video, you've watched my last video if you follow the channel. If you don't, I'm just going to give you a quick run through now. In November time last year, in 2023, I looked at moving to Canada for 2 years on a working holiday visa. I then came to Canada on June 17th and I lasted till September 8th. September 8th, I think. So obviously, I am now home, back in sunny, gorgeous England, and I just kind of want to run through everything that I encountered, everything that I feared about the country, and all that kind of stuff. I've got a few little notes that I will go over. However, there's no structure to the video, and these are obviously all my opinions, but I feel as though they are things you guys should know if you're interested or if you're actually looking at moving abroad to Canada. So basically, in this video, I will be telling you why I've come home, why I only lasted 3 months, everything I encountered over there, all the struggles, the positives, if there were any, and that'll be the aim of the video. I feel as though everyone should kind of know about this if you're looking into moving to Canada, if you're interested, if you're thinking about it, because there's not many people that kind of say it with the working holiday visa. They're kind of a bit more like down the line, permanent residency kind of stuff. So I arrived June 17th in Toronto. I thought I'd start there to get some qualifications. I wanted to go into lifeguarding, so I looked at lifeguarding in the UK. All you had to do was pay 165 quid, and then you've got your lifeguarding qualifications, a few other stuff along that as well, like a test and stuff, obviously. But you couldn't use that in Canada. It had to be a different one. So pretty much everything you've got in Canada is not the same in the UK. So the other way around even. So whatever you've got in England is not the same in Canada. So I was in engineering, doesn't cover Canada. It doesn't. It's not the same. It's not recognised. That's a better word. The qualification isn't recognised. So all my engineering ones weren't recognised. I wanted to go into conservation and biodiversity, which is a main reason for me going to Canada because I think it's got the best scenery, best landscape, best everything in the world on that kind of spectrum I'm on about. Um, so I was like, lifeguarding, that'll get me by. And while I'm lifeguarding, I'll look for jobs in that field that I want to be in. So I rocked up to Toronto, not knowing what I've just said there, that they're not recognised. And um, I couldn't afford to buy the courses in Canada. You had to do like a bronze medallion, then a bronze cross, then your health and safety and your like AED, CPR. Then you could do your lifeguard, and each one was like $300 plus tax. So I was like, what? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I can't afford to do that. Um, and then I found out that me qualifications in me biodiversity didn't correlate over there either. Me engineering ones didn't. So now I was like, right, well, what now? The whole reason I came to Toronto was to get the qualifications, but lifeguarding was way too expensive. So I was stuck. So the one place in Canada I really wanted to go was Calgary. So I thought, right, let's not beat around the bush. Let's just go straight for it now to Calgary instead of waiting because I was going to stay in Toronto, like that area till Christmas. Come home because my flight was from Toronto to Newcastle on the 21st of December. So I was like, I'll stay here till then, come home, and then I'll know where I'm going when I get back. Either fly to Calgary, fly to anywhere else in Canada. Because with the working holiday visa, you can go anywhere, work any job. So I was very excited about where I'd end up, what I'd get, so on and so forth. So I was like, right, just go to Calgary now. Booked my flights, headed to Calgary on the 14th of July. Had an Airbnb there for a month, like I did in Toronto. And I was applying all over for like delivery driving jobs, basically anything I didn't need a qualification in. So it was delivery driving, warehouse. They were like the two, sadly, and I was still going for like machining, just in the hopes that I could possibly get that. Um, I didn't get any joy with like delivery driving or like machine operating or like warehouse or anything. No idea why. You didn't get any feedback. I've got jobs that still haven't got back to me. Um, and my application hasn't even been viewed. So I don't know if there's a huge kind of thing there with jobs. There's too many people, not enough jobs, which I imagine there probably will be, seeing though 2 million temporary foreign workers go to Canada every year, and there's only 42 million people live there. So you know. But yeah, I couldn't get anything. I got offered a tour guide job at the last few days I was in Calgary. So I was there for a month, and I got offered a tour guide job that would end in the middle of October. So it was seasonal, and I was kind of still on the fence and the side of I need to stay here till December. So if I get a job till October, I'm just hunting again, which I don't want. Um, so I was like, yeah, sorry, I can't. I got offered a swimming instructor job, so I got all the way through to the end of that, and that was only 8 hours a week for 3 months. So that would have ended middle of November, just short about the 10th of November there. Obviously I can't survive on 8 hours a week anywhere. You can't do that anywhere. And I was wanting to get a car, so it wasn't looking good job front. So I was like, right, here, look, I'm just gonna buy a car. Bought a car for 2,700, big chunk of money, and it was like a shit car. Lots of things wrong with it that I didn't know yet. I got insured on that for 3,500 for the year, which was only third party. So anyone crashed into me, they were covered off my insurance, but I wasn't. Anything that happened to me, I was ghost, right? So I had to pay for it, health insurance, all that crap. Couldn't afford fully comp, couldn't afford everyone covered because that was 8,500 for the year. So that was July and half of August. So start of August, as you probably know off the videos. If you haven't, like I said, I'm going through it. Don't know why I'm waffling so much, but I ended up going to Edmonton because I got offered a machining job. Luckily, the two guys who owned it, one of them was actually called Alec as well. They were both from England. They were from Cornwall. So my engineering qualifications are through City and Guilds, and thankfully they were like, "Yep, that's who we done I was with." So I got that. The money was really good, like really good. But I didn't go there to do machining. I wanted to be in the wildlife areas, and like I said, my qualifications meant out, meant nothing, meant zip because I'd have had to retrain. So I was getting told off these forums I was in to get a study visa, retrain, do like 6 months to a year in a uni, get your qualifications to stay in Canada, and do you know where it's all like, I don't know if I want to stay here. Like, do you know when you're just getting your foot and you're just trying to settle, but I couldn't even settle to be able to say whether it was a good place for me to put down my roots to get established, So I couldn't even get like a gist for the place. Like nothing would allow me to settle. Like I couldn't just rent an apartment month to month, get a little part-time job, get a car, and just right chill out. My days off. I'll go and have a look about. I'm getting paid. I can pay for stuff. It wasn't. It didn't work like that. It was literally you rock up, you work, and you have to pay for everything straight away. You need to know what your lease you want. They wouldn't do any less than a year for me for furnished. I was looking for furnished because yet again I didn't want to go there, buy a load of furniture and be home soon. So, I was kind of like trying to tread lightly, but Canada just wouldn't let us. They were just saying, no, you have to do it now, you have to get sorted now, or else you're just going to get left behind. Which is kind of, you could argue, that's how life works. But when you got on a working holiday visa and you're totally sold this thing where you work and travel and it's easy, you can pick up any job, the qualifications I've got will be recognised over there. I'll be able to get one easy, get a place easy, get a car, da, 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 so on and so forth, right? And then you get there and it's totally like, this isn't what I was told. So you can kind of say that's half my fault. For maybe not looking into it. I don't know how I could research that. Maybe I could have. But like our VPN is obviously different to Canada's. So if you were to Google, let make it dead simple. If I were to Google jobs now on my laptop, jobs nearby me in my area of England will come up. If I were to Google jobs in Calgary, obviously jobs in Calgary will come up due to a different VPN, even though I'd be using Google Chrome to search both. Do you know what I mean? So if you're if I'm searching for Canadian taxes, I won't get the kind of answers I would if I was searching taxes in Canada, if that makes any sense. So I was finding out more stuff in Canada due to having the VPN and the internet, and like you're open to more information due to you being in that country. If that makes any sense, I hope it does. Um, so yeah, it was not pleasant on the old psyche. Um, I've got home and I'm like lost pretty much. I've picked up a job. I've only been back a week and one day, and I've got a job just doing delivery driving. That's how easy it is. Like, how come I couldn't have picked up a job a week in one day and arriving in Canada? It's like, yeah, it's just crazy. So I did make a word. Actually, I'm going to have a look to see if I've still got the word I done talking about the different points in that. Give us 2 seconds. Mm, mm, gorgeous. So I wrote down a few things. I'm going to go over them now. I also took screenshots, thankfully, when I was in Canada using Google. So these, as you can see, websites are all in Canadian. I don't know if it's something that maybe you could research yourself, like I said, due to different VPNs. Maybe you can. I could be talking a load of shite there with that stuff. However, I just want to talk about prices and stuff, which I don't tell you about. So Toronto is obviously insanely expensive. Vancouver, insanely expensive. It's in British Columbia, which they say is Bring Cash, BC, for it being like extremely expensive. I've even got links down below that I'll put in the description of this video if you want to check out. I've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight other people's videos that I was watching and that I found information from and stuff that I think you should look into. But now I'm home. Um, I could have done it a different way, so I could have got a seasonal job and only gone for 6 months, 3 to 6 months. I could have got a job secured already, which would have been very difficult because they tell you you need like your Canadian number, a Canadian address to even just get picked up. Um, but if you're working for someone and they're like, yeah, you can go to Canada, then that's quite good. Or if you apply for a job that requires you to go to Canada, then yeah, that's good. Um, However, myself just going off my own back and just trying to sort it out, I guess my delusional self thought that was possible. However, looking back, it obviously isn't. But like I say, don't take everything I say word for word because some people could go out there like the same as I did and just find their feet and it just totally work out for them. So I'd still suggest if you want to go, still go. Like, do not let this video put you off or anything like that because my story is different to yours. But these bits of information should be known, right? So if I start off, I'm just comparing Toronto, Calgary, right? Because Calgary is very popular. Obviously, Toronto's Toronto. Vancouver is also popular. However, I was never there, so I can't really comment on it because I didn't technically live there, if you can call it, if you can call what I done living there, you know. So here, just to start off with, Toronto, the minimum required to cover the cost of living in Toronto hourly rate is $25.05 an hour, and that is $45,591 a year. That is before taxes, unless it is in the GTA, so that's the Greater Toronto Area, which have certain other cities you can say. Well, yeah, they are cities that surround Toronto, and they just make the Greater Toronto Area. So you've got Toronto in the middle, then you've got like Mississauga, then you've got like North York, Brampton. However, I don't think that's in the GTA. I'll put them all down here. Ooh. These are all the areas. That's why Drake says six, because there's like six that make the GTA area. You know. So, where else am I looking at? So, that $45,581. That's just 74% of the cost of living in order to thrive in Toronto, and just 54% for those living in the suburbs. So $45,000 is only 54% of what you'd need to make to thrive in the suburbs of Toronto. You know, like what? Um, so there's different websites. Obviously, you've got where I am. There's like Indeed, Northeast Jobs. Oh, it's gone blank. But you know those kind of jobs that websites that you look for jobs on. Um, so there was websites here, numerous ones. So talent.com said that their average wage that they've got for jobs on that website was $37.02. ZipRecruiter on July 24th, 2024 was $27.67. Pay scale was 32.93. ZipRecruiter August 2nd was $20.79, and Indeed Student Worker is 17.83. So if you look at that, depending on your skill and your age range, the bottom two most likely are for younger people wanting less meaningful jobs, and by that I mean like they're not going for like managerial positions, engineering positions, manufacturing positions, stuff like that. So it's difficult to say because Toronto, with it being a huge city, it's like the main place for music and film and stuff in Toronto. So if anything's filmed or made in Toronto, that's where it goes. It's done in Toronto, in Canada even. So if anything's made, music, film, all that kind of stuff, the headquarters is like in Toronto. It's known for it, the film industry. So you've also got all those people working in that, which will be high paying jobs. Like The Boys, if you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime, it's like filmed and done in Toronto. So you've got all those high paid people in Toronto, which kind of puts that like medium wage up, if you know what I mean. So it's difficult, man, to kind of gauge because everyone's not. It's not like it's not just flat. There's obviously huge CEOs, business people working for certain companies in Toronto. But that's the same with like cities and stuff anyway, isn't it? So rent for a one bedroom, it is on average $2,403, while a two bedder is 3,189, and houses are obviously more expensive with 3,575. So you know, it's just like I kind of went to Toronto, well, Canada. So I was like, on the wage I was on in my last job, that I'm obviously not going back to. I was like, oh, I can afford to move out here. Um, I was, well, I can afford to move out in Canada. Like, why would I move out in England if I can move out in Canada? So I was like, obviously, I won't be on this wage. I won't have this job. Let's just look. And I was like, whoa, like swimming instructor, $25, which is what I was on in Calgary for that one day or whatever. I didn't get paid like because I left, but I left before we signed the contracts and that. But that's what I was on, like $25 an hour, which is um. Hold on, my cellular device calculator. So for £1 you get $1.72, right? So $25 times 58 pence, because 58 pence will get you a dollar. So times 0.58, that is £14.50, right? For swimming instructing. So I was like, you what? Like, that's mint. And then I started looking at machining, and that job I was at in Edmonton was $38 an hour. So yet again, calculator out. So 38 times 0.58, £22 an hour. Um, so I was like, what? Like, I can easily afford that. Like, I've got the qualifications for this, you know. So I was like buzzing. Obviously, you can't. Because if I'm getting $25 an hour and you're working like 40 hours a week, and you're living in Toronto, if you want a two-bedroom apartment, $3,189 of that is going on the apartment. These are obviously unfurnished as well, so I was going for furnished, which like means more. And when I was saying, like, oh, I only want 6 months, usually the price would double. One woman, don't know where she got a logic from, but she needs to return it. I says, so it was a furnished basement in Edmonton. What was it? 1,000 a month, a year lease. So I was like, oh, can I possibly have it for 6 months? She was like, oh yeah, of course you can. So I was like, oh, jackpot. She says, just the only thing is, you want it for 6 months, that means it'll be 2,000 a month. So I was a bit like, right, well, I'm making like more than that. And if so be it, so be it. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's no problem. Can I come and view it? She was like, oh yeah, you can come and view it when we take the furniture out. She wouldn't give us the furniture, so she doubled it for 6 months, and then she said she was going to take the furniture out. So I was like, yeah, yeah, no, keep it. Like flower, it's all right. Yeah, I'm not too bosh now. You must be like, why Calgary then? So Calgary, on average, a single person would need to make $3,000 to $4,000 a month, which is 36 to 48,000 a year, which is cheaper than Toronto. This would have to cover all expenses, including housing, food, transportation, and entertainment. So there was a few more websites for this one, for jobs. Talent.com again, 37.03 hourly average rate. Zip Recruiter 28, Pay Scale 38.44, Indeed Labourer 22.08, Jubal or Jubal. I'll go Jubal. CA was 31.16, Talent.com 24.86, and Salary Expert 36. So that's like more than what you get in Toronto. So a brother like me, stuck in Toronto, didn't like the city anyway, not a city person. I was like, yeah, Calgary, it's right next to the Rocky Mountains. It's better out average hourly rate. Like I said, $25 a swimming instructor in Calgary, like that's £14.50 a year. And for those of you if you are swimming instructors or anything like that, that's like a good wage. And then you're living in Canada on top of it. So I was just when I was looking at it, I was like, these are no brainers before I was even in Canada, that is. So, as of July 2024, the median rent for all bedroom counts and property types in Calgary is 1,986. Okay, so that's the all bedroom median July 2024. Might have gone up. I don't know because it does say here this is 2% higher than the national average. So I could have gone anywhere else and could have got it cheaper. But Calgary, like I said, right next to the mountains. The city is just gorgeous. I really, really liked Calgary. Really liked Calgary. I also like cowboys. Okay, I like country music, and that is very, very country in Canada. It's literally just above Montana. It's in the province Alberta, which, like I say, is just above Montana. It's really warm. It was like 30 to 36 is when I was there. Piping hot. It's got like a zoo. Loads of places to go walking. Lots of places to go eat, drink. Lots of stuff to watch entertainment. So on, right? I'll stop licking Calgary's ass now. Um, so it's a lot cheaper in Calgary than Toronto. And like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of Toronto anyway. It was a no-brainer. So I jumped ship, and I haven't included Edmonton on here. However, Edmonton was even cheaper. It was like 1,700 average a month, 1,500. Like I said, furnished basement there for a year. It was 1,000 a month. Like you could get like some decent places, um, for 1,500 a month furnished. One bedroom, two bedroom, 1,700. So yet again, jump ship again from Calgary to Edmonton, 3 hours away. Not close, but not far. If I ever wanted to go back. I did go and view an apartment in Edmonton. I viewed quite a few actually, but I did actually get accepted for one. It was near the city. It was like a side street. It was like a proper American street. It was a low building, about 3 stories. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Like I'm like a detective or something, or like I'm like telling a detective something. So yeah, it was about 3 stories. Um, I was on the second floor. It had its own balcony. I had a what do you call them? Like grill, barbecue, fully furnished, flat screen TV, big living room, which I liked. And it was like open plan, so like the living room was joined onto the kitchen. It was like all one big room with like a dining room in there as well. And then you walked down the corridor, and then you had like three little rooms. You had like a little spare room, a bathroom, and then my bedroom. The bedroom was big, big bed as well. Everything was there. That was 1,800 a month. It didn't look the best. I think it was made out 2005, and you could kind of tell like everything wasn't replaced recently. Like the oven and the lights and everything was quite dated, but it didn't bother me. Like the carpets and everything, it didn't like look the best, but like it's ideal balcony and everything. I look out at the street, and the street's hellish. Um, so I was like, yeah, well, of course I'll do this. So got accepted for that, and thankfully I was working, so it was like during the week. So I leave, like left the factory, go outside, answer the phone, and they're like, oh yeah, so because they also accepted 4 months rent off me, so they said they'd give me a 4 month like lease. So I was like, oh, finally, you know, um. So I was working 4 month lease, which meant that would have led up to Christmas. It would have been December 17th. So I was like, right, yeah, work this engineering job, machining job, get paid, bank it, get to December, go home, come back January, just see stuff, go out and see stuff, and then get that tour guide job in like March. So I'd only have to do January, February, March. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do this. So I was set on my ways, plan. Um, and they were like, right, so because you've got 4 months, if there's anything less than 6 months, they ask for 3 months rent up front. They wanted security deposits, which I'd get back, but that wasn't the point. They needed insurance paying. They needed me to pay for parking. I think that was it. TV and everything was included. So, like I said, 1,800 times three is 5,400. Um, which they wanted, and then security deposit, which I can't remember how much it was, and then parking was 200 a month. So there's 600 again. So just straight back up to 6,000. And I was like, there's nothing you can do. I managed to get it down to 2 months, but I was still like, can't can't part with that money now. Like I need it. My car battery just died, which was $240. Um, if anything went wrong with the car, like I'd need them. Like that would have wiped us out pretty much. Like I need petrol and stuff. Like it didn't make sense to me to like do that, and I couldn't. I didn't have the money. I didn't have um, what would it have been, like 4,000 something dollars there. I didn't have that. Um, so I had to just say no, and that was the only apartment I ever got offered. Uh, it's mad talking about it, Like I've been recording now for 34 minutes. I know it won't be that long. Um, and I don't mean to like waffle too much, but it was so hard. Like I'm good. I was only there 3 months. Like I feel like such a muppet. Like as I'm saying it now, it totally seems like of course you can't. But at the time, it was like there was no reason for me to believe that I couldn't. Like I was like, oh yeah, obviously things will go wrong, but I didn't think they'd go as wrong as they did. Um, like I said, I bought a car for 2,700, and then I went on like my little road trip. I was meant to do for a month, and I done for fuck, 2 nights. Um, and just everything. Just I wanted to do something, and then the world was just kind of like, no, you can't do it like. Um, yeah, so I took it to this GMC garage. When I got back to Edmonton, I got quoted 1,300 to like 3,200, um, and they offered me $200 for it. Because there was so many things wrong with it, and I was like, literally bought for 2,700 like 18 days before, and then someone's telling me, yeah, I can give you $200. It's like on its last legs. So I saw it on Facebook for 1,400. That was the most I got offered for it. Obviously, I just needed to get rid as well. Um, so yeah, everything just wasn't working like at all. Um, but I don't want to go into too much detail. Like I start getting like, as I was just like zoning out there, and I was like that. I get dead mopey about it. Which is why I deleted the last video. It was on for an hour, and I was like proper like just like it was too close. And I was like talking too emotionally, and like, but I just can't get over it. Like I say, I've only been back a week. Like it just went that wrong that quick, and like well, it didn't even go right. It's something it can't be wrong if it wasn't it. Well, because I can. Uh, like it just didn't work. Like from the start, man. Like it would look up and then just go straight back down for me. But like I say, don't listen to me. Your experience might be completely different, which I hope it is, because mine was awful. But just some of the statistics and that, like, it's for money. So when I got told that, like, you can work a bar job, you can be like cashier, and you can rent, and you can like afford to like work and holiday, work, travel kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, like 2 years of my life, do something exciting because since I've left school, I've done stuff I didn't want to do. Like what I'm qualified in is not what I want to do. Um, so I kind of might be going through like an early little crisis thing, but yeah, no. So the average wage in Canada reached 2,000. Oh, the average rent in Canada reached 2,185 in June, which is up 7%. Unemployment That has risen to 6.4%. That's since April 2023. There were 1.4 million unemployed people in June 2024, which increased 42,000 from May. So we're in September now. I don't know what the figures are now, but it's like all these people are competing for jobs. These are Canadians. And then you've got temporary foreign workers like myself, 2 million a year are going out. Obviously, not all at once, but across 12 months, you've got 2 million people going to the country looking for jobs. It's like it's so competitive. There's not enough houses, which is why rent's through the roof because people have to pay that price because there's no other options. Do you know, like it's like supermarkets in America, Canada. There was no cheap alternatives in the UK. You've got Aldi, Lidl, um, places like that. Even like you can get like Tesco's own, Asda's own, Morrison's own, Sainsbury's, so on and so forth. Right, affordable food. Um, and you even say it's like matching Aldi prices now, but then in Canada there was nothing cheap. Like everything was just so much. If one were to drop, then they just like run themselves out of stock kind of thing. I don't know how it works. I might have just made that up. But yeah, like there was no kind of difference. Everything was on a level, and that level was very high compared to the UK on average. Um, so to live comfortably in Canada, it's 40 minutes long this video. I waffled me like. So to live comfortably in Canada, this is nuts. Oh my. I don't even think it's as bad as other places. But to live comfortable in Canada, that means room for savings, occasional extras, potential childcare costs, and aim for a combined annual pre-tax household income. Oh no, no, and so you need to aim for this combined annual pre-tax household income of at least $95,000. So that means you need to be doing what's that? 47,500 each, and that's to live comfortably. That has increased by 5,000 since 2023. This allows for a more balanced lifestyle in most Canadian locations. So $95,000 is a lot of money. When you convert it to English pounds, that's £54,000. Um, as a combined income, that's not too bad. 47,500. Um, to live comfortably, that is, and then stuff like childcare costs, I don't need. But I'm alone. I don't have anyone. I don't have like. I'm an alone brother out there, right? Like there's so even for me to make 54,000 in the UK, like that's a lot of money for like just one person to be making. But if you say two people, then it's like yeah, that's like it's not well reasonable maybe. Um, like yeah, man. Uh, and then I went into this is the last little bit. Oh no, it's not. There's another page, and then I went into how this is a bit of a touchy subject, so I won't dwell on it too much. Like I said, there's links to videos in the description if you want to really know about the immigration in Canada. There's a huge crisis going on. Quebec has just recently froze immigration for 6 months, like temporary foreign workers at like low wage jobs. If you're going to Canada and you're doing a low wage job and you're a temporary foreign worker, Quebec are now saying no, not happening. They froze it because there's too many. So I've got facts and figures here. I'm not going to give opinions. I'm just going to give facts and figures. Um, so there's pretty much too many immigrants to do meaningless jobs. Um, taking them for the rest of people. like pretty much like me, the sort of dream kind of thing. So specifically a place in India called Punjab. There's a lot of them from there. They're coming out on study work permits, and then they're getting their temporary. Then they're getting like work permits, and then they're working in different areas, mainly retail and hospitality. Cyberpunk Dingo, right? It has a video in the description. Like I said, he goes into it in more detail than me. So in 2013, the number of Indian immigrants was 32,828, and in 2023 it's now 139,715. So that's increased by 326%. Wow, numbers are made, not working out. So this is kind of where it's a bit like, why? You can say that just Trudeau's just wanting money, as they have to pay their student visa and their college tuition fees and their university fees up front before they're allowed in the country. So then the government just goes back pocket that, like, yeah. So my visa, work and holiday visa, is capped at 9,000 people per year, right? No more. So there could be 12,000 apply, 11,000 invites go out. But obviously, there's only 9,000 positions. I got mine at the very first quarter. The very first invites I got sent out, Kingy's name was on the front. Bosh. And I got in. No bother. Young professionals is 900, so that's if you kind of want to go into a big career, so engineering, and you get a young professional visa and you work in like that role kind of thing, right? Internships are 100, so that adds up to people from the UK on that little working holiday visa kind of thing as 10,000 people. My position has changed because my battery just died. But like I was saying, that's 10,000 people are allowed into the country, into Canada, from like the UK, 10,000. But then you've got like 139,000 people um from India in 2023. And like I said, 2 million people, temporary foreign workers a year is an awful lot. And the numbers aren't kind of adding up here. Um, like I said, that's 2023. I don't know what it is in 2024. However, like I said, these videos below go into it in more detail than me, so it might not be um 2 million even. However, according to the latest data, 2022, I can only go back. Obviously, this year hasn't finished yet. But according to the latest data, about 225,865 Indian students went to Canada in 2022. Overall, about 548,875 study permits were issued to students coming from 184 countries in 2022. That's a lot. And like I said, these study permits, once the people are in the country, then it's like, right, I'm going to give a work permit now, which means they're temporary foreign workers. So that might be where the 2 million comes in from, because people will be coming here, temporary worker anyway. Add on that, add on that, add on that, and it could be close to 2 million, which is like kind of nuts. It also says well over 1 million people of Indian descent have now made Canada their home, and this number continues to grow each year. Each year, some 120,000 Indian citizens are admitted as permanent residents to Canada. Most Indians come to Canada as skilled workers under the economic class. So, also going into this, there's something dodgy going on. A little deal with Canada and India. And whatever degree they've got in India, magically it's the same in Canada. However, mine isn't. Um, I don't know. I might just be being a bit salty. Maybe they are the same. Who knows? But Canada recognise them. I don't know why they can't just do that for everyone because I can't go to college, my local college, and say, "Oh, give us that qualification, Canadian, please." I'm going to Canada. They say, "No, you're in England. You're in English." So I don't know why it's not the same. But my final little point is motor vehicles. This video is already about 40 minutes long. Don't know how long it's going to be because I might have a bit more to waffle about. Let's have a look. Very chill kind of video. I like it. I like talking. I'm a waffler. Don't know if you realised. So, average cost of a new car in Canada is $66,000, 422, according to Auto Trader Price Index of March 2024. The average cost of a used car is 37,662. However, the average car price in Canada varies depending on the type of vehicle. On average, Canadian drivers pay between 1,300 and 1,800 for car insurance. Now, I've got mates who are paying 40 quid for a car in England, so that's just over 500 quid, just shy of 500 quid. Um, so we are beating them on that front by a mile. Um, it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number because there are several different types of car insurance options and several factors influence the overall price, like where you live, province you're in, where you keep your car, all the kind of stuff that does in the UK. It's similar there. So this is where I go into my detail, and I've actually got the actual prices here. So I passed my test in September of 2018. No claims, no points. Well, one claim, but in Canada they only want to know 4 years, so bosh. However, on my little certificate thing that was issued, it had no claims on, so no claims, no points, no convictions. However, that doesn't count in Canada, obviously. So it's called a driver's abstract, is what they call it. You just basically put your little driving license detail into a Gov website, and it tells you your driving history. Printed that off, got a copy of that, sent it to insurers because you can't just go onto a compare site. You have to contact the insurers like yourself. Um, and the cheapest I got was the one I went for, which was Allstate, and that was $8,438, fully compensated on a 2006 Suzuki. Right? Yes, it was a 2.7 litre four-wheeled drive, but point. And then third party was 3,500. So that is that. I've covered everything I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, man, it's so difficult to not try and get too emotionally invested with an opinion and just try and stay on the fence. However, I can only talk about my experience, which wasn't too dandy. Um, it could have been better. I wish it was better. However, it's how the cookie crumbles. It obviously wasn't meant to be for me, I imagine. So I'm going to tell myself anyway. Um, but yeah, look, if you're on about going out, then try it by all means. Research the best you can. Sometimes, though, that doesn't mean anything. Like I thought I had done canny on my research front, but lots of surprises. Um, Personally, I wouldn't try and do what I done, move completely. I'd go and visit, do your visa, um, but getting a job when you're out there can be very difficult. Getting a place to stay when you're out there, like renting wise, can be very difficult. Even some Airbnbs are a bit chewy and a bit awkward. But if you can get a seasonal job like skiing, helping out there in the winter, or like summer camp in the summer, that's probably, I'd say, the only way to do it. The safest option, the best way to travel and work, because you get like your staff accommodation and everything. So what I done, I'd say, is like dying out. People were saying that they could have done that. That's what they did do. But in this day and age, it's like not looking likely due to Western civilization being such a fortune now, and everything else on top of it as well. Um. So yeah. It's the video. That is it. I've covered everything. I've been recording it. It's for 55 minutes. Wowzer. Um, hopefully I've kept your attention. Hopefully you might have learned a few things. Um, but yeah, go and try it. I don't want to sway your opinion. Um, get out there and see what's like. Like you say, like what everyone was saying to me. The worst case scenario, you come home early. I might do more videos like this, talk about different kinds of things going on in the world that I'm interested in. Like more about like ghosts, aliens, as clothes and that. I want to talk about politics and immigration. But that is just, I feel as though, some information that everyone needs to know. Go check out them videos down below if you're interested. Um, because yeah, it's got the biggest. It's got the most immigration it's ever had, Canada, and it's also got the biggest amount, like the most amount of people leaving Canada as well. There's a lot of immigrants going and leaving in the same year, like your boy. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Um, there'll be no more Canada content after this. Sadly, I apologise if you've subscribed for the Canadian content. It's my bad. I'll have to take time to get over it because there's so many things I had excited for the channel and everything, and just being in Canada. And like I say, everything's gone. Don't want to get too like poor me about it again. So yeah. Thank you. Like, subscribe. Got some walks and that coming up. I want to do like bushcraft reading. I want to do everything wildlife. This channel will be wildlife and stuff. Wildlife, hiking, outdoors, clothing, buffer outdoors. And then I might do like the odd little podcast kind of video like this where I just waffle shite. Might get a few of my mates on here as well, which would be quite good. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. Ta-ta.